The following is transcribed.
Welcome to Condensed Bat-Supe. Now with 66% fewer superheroes than our regular podcast, which makes Condensed Bat-Supe even less nutritious, but still just as delicious. We're featuring episodes of the adventures of Superman without the caped crusaders. Tie on your capes for lots of empty promises, plenty of analysis paralysis, and nervous tension galore. In this edition of Condensed Bat-Supe, the Unity House story continues with the next 2 chapters of the Hate Mongers Organization. This is Chapter 17, 1 Minute to Murder, as originally broadcast on May 8th, 1946.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, as the so-called Guardians of America revel in their daring plan to launch another sneak attack on the Unity House Committee, Clark Kent is unaware that his editor, Perry White, is himself a target.
You know what happens to fellas and girls who take time to eat a solid sort of breakfast, the kind experts recommend? Well, watch them tear off to school in high in the snappy mood that makes for a good day. And, gang, do you know what's the nifty appetite tickler that looks so good you want to eat hearty come breakfast time? Why, it's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Yes, sir, those golden toasted flakes of sun-ripened whole wheat sure do give your appetite the old 1-2. And when you really dig in, Kellogg's Pep tastes just as slick as it looks. Smooth sunshine flavor and tender crispness, mighty terrific eating. One look at Pep's golden goodness, one taste of that knockout full wheat flavor, and you're all set to polish off every last spoonful in your bowl. And nothing could be smarter nowadays when it's off the beam to waste cereal, because the cereal grains have been picked out to give that swell grain nourishment to fellas and girls overseas. So latch on to Kellogg's Pep, gang, and when Mom brings Pep home from the grocer's, make sure it's not wasted. Handle with care is the idea if you pour your own cereal, and eat up every bit you pour out. Tip off the rest of your family, too. Just remember, eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Battling a subversive organization calling itself the Guardians of America, Superman in his guise of Clark Kent enlisted the aid of young Jimmy Olsen to masquerade as a poolroom tough and learn, if possible, the identity of the man running the organization. In yesterday's episode, as you recall, Jimmy reported to Kent that an attack was about to be directed at the Reverend Dr. Leeds, pastor of the Methodist Church, a member of the Unity House Committee. According to Jimmy, an explosive bomb would be attached to the motor of the Protestant minister's car, a bomb that would go off when the car was started. Calling to warn Dr. Leeds, Kent learned, to his amazement, that the minister had no car. Could Jimmy's information be wrong? The answer is no. Unknown to Kent, the mysterious leader of the so-called Guardians had arranged for editor Perry White to call for Dr. Leeds in his car, and in that way, as he venomously put it, they could get 2 enemies with 1 bomb. Continuing our story now, we join Perry White at the Daily Planet, where Beanie, the office boy and jack of all jobs, is on the carpet.
Do you mean to stand there and tell me we haven't heard from Kendall Olson in 48 hours?
Has it been that long, Mr. White?
What do you mean, has it been that long? How long do you think it's been?
Search me, Mr. White. I don't have a watch.
Never mind. Where's Miss Lane?
I don't know. I haven't seen her either for a long time.
No, you haven't.
No, Mr. White.
You don't seem to have seen anyone. Now tell me, what do you do around here?
What do I do?
That's what I said. What do you do around here?
That's what I thought you said.
Well?
What do I do?
Yes, what do you do? How do you occupy your time?
Well, I run copy and I go on errands. You know, get coffee and stuff for the reporters, and I pick up papers from the floor, I mean. You know, crumpled up paper.
You don't have to draw diagrams.
Diagrams? I don't draw any diagrams.
Oh, never mind. Skip it. What else do you do?
Well, I say hello to people when they come in, and I ask them who they want to see, and...
All right. That's enough. How much are we paying you?
$27.50 a week, and out of that I give my mother...
Nobody's interested in your personal finances. Would you like a raise?
What?
What's the matter? Can't you hear? I said a raise.
Oh, boy. Oh, would a fish like to swim?
All right. Now, here's a chance for you to make some more money. I'll give you a $5 raise if you can find Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen.
You mean $5 a week?
What do you think, a day?
Jeepers. $5 a week. Where am I going to find them?
Well, that's your affair. If and when you do find them, tell them for me that... Perry White speaking.
Oh, Chief.
Oh, Kent.
Surprised to hear from me?
Is Olsen with you?
Jimmy? Yes.
Now, just a minute. Beanie, the deal's off. No raise. I found them myself.
Oh, wouldn't you know it?
Now get out.
Hello?
Get out and pick up papers.
Hello?
My butt's up the...
Hello, Chief. Hello.
What's your
Hello?
hurry? I've been waiting for you for 48 hours. You can do a little waiting for me.
I thought we'd been disconnected.
Well, I like nothing better than to disconnect you limb from limb. Where have you been? Why haven't you kept in touch with the office?
Wait a minute.
Who's paying your salary?
Whoa, take it easy, Chief. You know what I'm doing.
Oh, I do I?
Yes.
What am I, a mind reader?
Now, look here. You know perfectly well I'm working on a story.
From the time it's taking, I'd say you were working on an encyclopedia.
Don't be sarcastic. This is important, and you know it as well as I do. Say, by the way, Father Sheehan got your check. He's quite pleased.
Yes, I know. He called me.
He did?
Yes. Matter of fact, I'm attending a meeting at his parish house tonight.
Oh.
I think you'd better come along.
Well, I can't, Chief. I'll be busy.
Busy? Busy with what?
We're trying to ward off another attack on one of the Unity House committee members.
Oh, who is it this
We
time?
don't know. Jimmy hasn't been able to get any details, but it's pretty serious.
Well, if you ask me, the whole thing is pretty serious. And I don't like the way it's being handled.
Now, you have no right to say that, Chief. After all, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, that's what you think. If I had my way, I'd blast those guys behind this hate business off the face of the earth.
Oh, sure.
I'd use the power of the press to run them out of town. I'd print it in the biggest, blackest headlines I could find.
Oh, no, Chief. Look, we've gone over this a dozen times.
Oh, so what?
Well, running them out of one town into another doesn't solve the problem.
Then clap them into jail.
How can we? We have no evidence.
You've got plenty of evidence against those hoodlums who set fire to Hoffman's store,
I know.
almost killed Danny O'Neill, and stuck a knife into that rabbi.
I know. I've told you before, though, Chief. They're just cat's paws. They don't even know what they're doing.
Not much they don't.
Well, look, Chief, it's senseless to argue this way over the phone. You know we can't get anywhere this way.
Then why don't you show up at the office once in a while? Or is that asking too much?
Here we go again.
Now, one of these days, Kent, you'll go too far.
You really want me at the office?
Yes. Bring Olsen with you.
Well, now, that's impossible. Jim can't be connected with the planet until this thing is cleared up.
Oh, all right. How soon will you be here?
20 minutes.
I'll wait for you. Goodbye.
Boy, Mr. Kent, he sure sounded mad.
You know the chief, Jim. All bark and no bite.
Are you going to the office like you said?
Well, I'm afraid I'll have to, just to keep peace in the family. What time is it, Jim?
4:30.
When are you due back at the pool room?
Mugg said to show up around 8.
Well, you better stay here. Maybe you can catch a few hours sleep.
Oh, I'm not tired.
You should be. Last 48 hours have been pretty hectic.
I know, but I'm not tired, honest. I feel swell.
Oh,
I'll sit around and read, play the radio.
okay.
You'll be back, won't you?
Oh, of course.
I mean, before I go to the pool room?
Long before. I told Inspector Henderson I'd be home all evening in case he needed me. I don't see how anything can happen now that we've warned the 3 members of the committee who own cars not to drive them tonight. And on top of that, Henderson has a plainclothes man watching each of their homes.
Well, that takes care of everything, I guess.
You can't tell, Jim. Something might break. And I want to be ready for it if it does.
You think maybe Muggs gave me a bum steer on purpose?
A bum steer?
I mean, you think maybe he told me they were going to hook a bomb up to the motor of somebody's car just to throw me off the trail? That's not what they're going to do at all?
Could be.
Well, if he did, then it means he doesn't trust me. It means he's suspicious.
Well, that could be, too.
Well, then maybe I better not show up there tonight. At the pool room, I mean.
Oh, you've got to, Jim. If you don't show up and he is suspicious, it'll just confirm his suspicions.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not only do you have to show up, but you've got to go out on this job. Oh, the detectives watching the 3 houses have been told not to make any arrests, just to see that no property is damaged, so you won't be in any danger.
Oh, that's good.
But I want you to go along so that you can testify later as an eyewitness.
Whose houses are the detectives watching?
The 3 car owners in the committee, Hoffman, Murphy, and Walters, the school principal.
Oh,
The other 3, Father Sheehan, Rabbi Stone, and Dr. Leeds, don't own cars.
that's right.
Oh, hey, I better get going. Said I'd be there in 20 minutes. If I'm not, the chief will have apoplexy.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll see you later, Jim.
Okay.
Alone in the apartment, Jimmy picks up a magazine, thumbs through it absently, crosses to the radio, turns it on, and while waiting for it to warm up, strolls to the window and looks down on the street. Suddenly, the color drains from his cheeks and his mouth gapes open. What has he seen? We'll know in a moment when we return for the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, gang, old Mother Hubbard's got a new name these days. Sure, she's Mother Hubba Hubba when she goes to the cupboard for a package of Kellogg's Pep. Because Pep, the Sunshine cereal, makes breakfast really hubba hubba. Boy, how those sunny golden toasted flakes do make your appetite sit up and take notice. And say, have you heard the word about Pep's dish of the week? This week, it's a Pep banana split. As keen a dish as you'd ever want to taste. Now, here's the idea. You sprinkle a layer of Kellogg's Pep in the bottom of your bowl. Top with half a banana that's been split down the middle. Then more Pep and the rest of the banana. Add milk and sugar, and then see how Pep's famous sunshine flavor and tender crispness do rise and shine. Why, you won't want to stop until you've finished the very last spoonful in your bowl, which is certainly a very hep thing to do nowadays, because Kellogg's Pep is made from whole wheat, and whole wheat is one of the cereal grains picked out to go to fellas and girls all around the world. So, gang, get hep to Pep. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, don't waste it. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and polish off every bit you pour out. And kind of keep watch on your younger brothers and sisters, too. Get the right habit. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Alone in Clark Kent's apartment, Jimmy Olsen strolled over to the window to look out on the street. And suddenly the color drained from his cheeks and his mouth gaped open. For there, standing on the curb directly opposite the apartment house, were two familiar figures wearing checked caps. Figures he identified immediately as Muggs and one of his young lieutenants, Lefty. As we join Jimmy now, 5 minutes have gone by. The two young toughs are no longer standing on the curb, but have crossed the street and entered the apartment house. Jimmy is on the phone connected with the Daily Planet switchboard, but at the moment, getting no response.
Hello? Hello? Golly, why doesn't the chief answer his phone? Hello? Hello?
Harry White speaking.
Mr. White, this is Jimmy Olsen.
Well, a voice from the dead. Are you still working for us, Mr. Olsen?
Don't joke, Mr. White. I'm in trouble. Is Clark Kent there yet?
Mr. Kent? The great Mr. Kent?
Mr. White, please, they're coming for me.
What's that?
I said they're coming for me.
Who's coming for you?
Muggs and one of his gang. Is Mr. Kent there yet?
No, he isn't. And what are you babbling about?
Fate. They must have followed me to Mr. Kent's apartment. Then they must have waited till he went out. Now they're coming for me.
Stop babbling.
I'm not babbling, Mr. White. It's the truth. Are you sure Mr. Kent isn't there yet? Would you look in his office?
What do you think I am? Messenger boy?
But, Chief, I mean, Mr. White, they're coming for me. They're out here. There's the doorbell. They're here, Mr. White. They're here.
Trapped in Clark Kent's apartment with Muggs and one of his companions at the door, Jimmy can see no way of escape. This time, the odds are against him. Clark Kent is en route to the Daily Planet, and it is too late to call the police. What can Jimmy do? The next 60 seconds may mean the difference between life and death. Gang, whatever you do, don't miss listening to Superman tomorrow when Jimmy Olsen fights for his very life in the exciting episode entitled Escape.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. You know, gang, a dog likes having his own feeding dish and his own bed. And I bet you he likes his own food, too, instead of yours, if you give him Kellogg's Grow Pup dog food. Grow Pup has a grand, meaty flavor dogs go for, and it helps keep them husky, too. Helps give them strong bones and teeth and muscles. There are 3 different kinds of Grow Pup, all of them wonderful for your dog. There's Grow Pup Ribbon, Grow Pup Meal, and Grow Pup Pellets. Ask Mother to get Kellogg's Grow Pup today. See if your dog doesn't go for it right off the bat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
And now, faster than a speeding bullet, Condensed Bat-Supe proudly presents Chapter 18 of the Hate Mongers Organization storyline. The episode titled Escape, which was originally broadcast on May 9th, 1946.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, danger stalks not only Perry White, but Jimmy Olsen, as the young reporter tries desperately to reach Clark Kent and escape from the hoodlum Muggs, cat's paw of democracy's most ruthless enemy.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know what's a slick dish for breakfast? It's this week's Pep Dish of the Week, a Pep Banana Split. Sure is easy to look at when you hitch up your chair to the table. And here's how easy it is to make. You sprinkle a layer of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, in the bottom of your bowl. Cut a banana in half and split it down the middle, and arrange on top of the Pep. Then pour on more Pep and top with the other piece of banana. And that's it, gang, a Pep Banana Split. A surefire combination for smooth eating. Why, those tender, crisp flakes of Kellogg's Pep are terrific. They're loaded with sunny, full wheat flavor that anybody's appetite will really latch onto. And Pep is good for you, too. Sure, gives you solid whole wheat nourishment plus. So, it's on the beam to scoop up every last spoonful in your bowl. What's more, it's off the beam to waste cereal these days, because the cereal grains have been picked out to send to fellows and girls, just like you, all over the world, to give them that swell grain nourishment. Keep that in mind when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's. Don't waste it. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and polish off every bit you pour out. Pass the word along to the rest of your family, too. Always make sure to eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Masquerading as a young tough, Jimmy Olsen, cub reporter for the Daily Planet, joined a gang of juvenile hoodlums, led by a boy known as Muggs, a gang committing acts of violence for an organization calling itself the Guardians of America. The truth of the matter is that instead of guarding and defending American ideals of liberty and freedom, the subversive organization is attempting to spread the poison of racial and religious intolerance. In yesterday's episode, as you remember, Jimmy learned that an attack was about to be made on one of the members of the committee attempting to raise funds to build a community clubhouse for youngsters of all faiths. The attack in which Jimmy is supposed to join is scheduled to take place at 8 in the evening. Killing time at Clark Kent's apartment, Jimmy happened to saunter to the window, and to his horror saw Muggs and one of his lieutenants, a boy named Lefty, standing across the street watching the apartment house where they had evidently trailed him from their pool room hangout. Frantically, Jimmy called the Daily Planet, but Clark Kent had not yet arrived. As we join him now, he's attempting to explain his desperate position to Editor Perry White.
I saw them cross the street and come into the apartment house. Any minute now, they'll be up here to get me.
We'll be up here to get you.
Muggs and Lefty.
Who?
Muggs and Lefty. Oh, please, Mr. White, don't ask me questions. Are you sure Mr. Kent isn't in his office? Would you go and see?
Do I look like a messenger?
But That's them now. They're ringing the bell.
What?
They're ringing the bell.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
They're ringing the bell. What'll I do?
Who's ringing the bell?
I told you, Muggs and Lefty. They're after me. Mr. White, you've got to help me. If they catch me in here, they'll...
Wait a minute. Here's Kent.
Oh, boy, quick. Put him on.
It's Olsen. Yes, Jim. What is it?
Mr. Kent, Muggs and Lefty are after me.
What?
Hear that?
Yes?
They're at the apartment door. I saw them on the other side of the street just after you left. Then they crossed over and came into the apartment house.
Uh-oh.
Now they're at the door. What'll I do?
Don't do anything, Jim. Hang up and sit tight.
But suppose they force the lock and break in.
They won't have time. Hang up now and don't make a sound.
But
Do as I say, Jim.
Okay. If they followed me from the pool room, they know I'm in here. They must have found out what apartment it was from the doorman. Any minute now, they're going to start working on the lock. Why did Mr. Kent tell me to hang up and sit tight? What good's that going to do? There they go. They'll have that door open in no time. What'll I do? I'm stuck. And Lefty's got that knife. The knife he used on the rabbi. He'll get me this time. There's no way out. What was that?
Just me, Jim.
Oh, Superman.
Not so loud.
Oh, you got here just in time. They're trying to force the lock on the door. Hear them?
They won't get very far. Come on, we're going to take a little ride.
Where to?
Kent thinks I'd better take you back to the pool room so you can establish an alibi.
But if they followed me here, they must know I'm a spy.
They don't know anything. They suspect. Now, you've got to quiet their suspicions, and the best way is to step right into the lion's den. You're not afraid, are you?
No, I'm not afraid.
Good boy. Well, I'll leave you at the pool room, but be sure you get someone there to notice the time. That's important, because when Muggs and Lefty return to the pool room, your alibi will be you were there when they thought you were here at the apartment, and you've got to make it stick.
I'll try.
Shouldn't be too difficult. Ordinarily, it would take you a half hour to get across town to the pool room, and I'll have you there in half a second. The difference in time should be your alibi. You all set?
I guess so.
Okay, here we go then.
Out and away!
Leaping through the open window with Jimmy Olsen in his arms, the Man of Steel hurtles across the city of Metropolis to the pool room hangout of Muggs and his gang in a desperate attempt to clear the boy reporter of suspicion. An hour later, in the back room of the hangout, Jimmy, once again playing the role of a young tough, attempts to convince Muggs he was not the one they followed to Kent's apartment house.
Couldn't have been me, Muggs. You heard what Charlie said. I was here at 10 minutes to 4.
Lefty and me seen you go in with a tall guy wearing glasses. 5 minutes later, the guy comes out.
It must have been somebody else.
We crossed over and asked the doorman if a tall guy with glasses and a skinny kid went upstairs. He says, yeah. And he gives us the apartment number.
Oh, how could it be me if I was here? How could it, Muggs?
I don't know.
You heard what Charlie said. I come in here at 10 minutes to 4. Well, what time was it when you saw this kid go in with the tall guy?
3:45.
Oh, you see, Muggs, it couldn't have been me. I couldn't have got over here from there in 5 minutes. You know how long it takes.
Lefty and me tailed you. How could we get crossed up?
Don't ask me, Muggs. I don't know. It was telling somebody else, that's all.
We was tailing you.
How could you? I was here at...
Shut up. Hey, Charlie.
Yes?
Come here a minute, will you?
Okay.
Go ahead, ask Charlie. He'll tell you. He'll tell you I was here.
Lie down, will you?
Yeah? Hey, what's up, Muggs?
Come in here a minute. I want to check on something. Close the door. Charlie, you sure this kid was here at 10 minutes to 4?
Yeah, sure.
Well, how come you hit the time right on the nose?
What do you mean, how come?
Go ahead, tell him, Charlie. Tell him how...
Shut up, you. How'd you know it was 10 minutes to 4, Charlie?
Well, he come in, he asked for you. I told him that you went out, and he asked when you was coming back.
Yeah?
I said in about an hour, and then he asked what time it was, and I looked at my watch, and it was 10 minutes to 4.
You see, Muggs?
Okay. Thanks, Charlie.
I don't get this.
Skip it, will you?
Okay.
Now do you believe me, Muggs?
I don't know. There's something cockeyed about this. Lefty and me ain't no dopes. Oh, you almost got caught Jimmy in the door at that apartment we thought you was in.
Oh, no kidding.
Hey, the guy with the glasses come back.
I don't know why you don't think I'm on a level, Muggs.
All right, forget it.
All you gotta do is give me a chance to pull a job with you, and I'll show you I'm shooting square.
Yeah, well, you're getting that chance. Tonight.
Oh, am I going out on that job with you? Fixing the car motor?
Yeah. You and me alone.
Whose car we working on?
We're out to get a minister. A guy by the name of Leeds, but he ain't got no car.
Oh, how we gonna do it then? How we gonna rig the motor so it blows up if he ain't got no car?
I told you, the guys were working for the smart cookies. They got it all figured out.
Yeah? How?
Another guy they're after is picking up this minister in his car. So we get the two of them at the same time.
Sounds okay. Who's the other guy? The guy with the car?
Some big shot. Runs a newspaper. His name's Perry White.
Stunned, Jimmy stares at Muggs in wide-eyed amazement, his temples pounding and his heart choked up in his throat. The hate-mongers are about to strike again, and this time one of their victims is editor Perry White of the Daily Planet. We'll return in a moment to learn what happens, so keep listening.
Say, if your appetite is a weary willy first thing in the morning, it'll sure wake up when you catch a glimpse of that breakfast bowl full of Kellogg's Pep. And you'll be all set to eat the solid sort of meal that helps start your day in high. Because these sunny, golden toasted flakes of whole wheat look so terrific that, well, you can hardly wait to pitch in. And is that sunshine flavor smooth? Is that tender crispness keen? And say, does your appetite get a lift when you spoon up your first taste of those crunchy flakes of Kellogg's Pep? Yes, sir, breakfast gets the glad eye when Pep heads the menu. And your nutrition quota gets a boost, too, because Kellogg's Pep is good for you. Sure, it gives you solid whole wheat nourishment plus. So it's a slick trick to eat up every last bit in your bowl. And mighty important nowadays, too, because the cereal grains, like the whole wheat and Pep, have been picked out to send to fellows and girls overseas. So, gang, this is no time to waste cereal. When Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, make yourself a committee of one to help guard against waste. If you pour your own Pep, pour it carefully and polish off every bit you pour out. Pass the word along to your younger brothers and sisters, too. You're on the beam if you eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
Struck as though by lightning, when he learned that Editor Perry White was marked for violence, Jimmy Olsen made every effort to get away from the pool room hangout of Muggs and his gang in order to warn either Clark Kent or Muggs. Still not entirely convinced that Jimmy is on the level, refuses to allow him to leave the pool room. As we continue now, Muggs has gone out for something to eat, leaving Jimmy with Charlie, the owner of the pool room. Desperately as the hour for what may be a murderous attack on Perry White and the Reverend Dr. Leeds draws near, Jimmy pleads with Charlie to give him a break.
I gotta get out, Charlie. I gotta go tell my uncle something.
Call him on the phone.
He ain't got no phone. I gotta go over to his house.
You heard what Muggs says. You gotta stay here until he comes back.
But I can't. I gotta go tell my uncle I ain't coming home tonight. He'll get sore if I don't. Please, Charlie, it'll only take me 5 minutes.
Nothing doing.
I'll give you $10, Charlie.
And you sure want to get clear, kid, don't you?
It's only on account of my uncle. He gets sore if I don't show up.
Yeah, well, that's too bad.
Oh, come on, Charlie. Be a right guy. Muggs will never know nothing about it.
That's what you think.
He won't, I tell you. All it'll take is 5 minutes, and I'll be back. What time is it now?
It's 7:30.
Oh, golly, he'll kill me if I don't show up.
Yeah, what do you think Muggs will do if I let you go?
He won't know nothing about it. Honest, he won't, Charlie. Here, take the $10. Please.
Sit down, kid. Muggs said for you to stay here, and you're staying. So sit down and shut up.
Hopelessly beaten, realizing that he will be forced by circumstances to take part in an attack on his own employer and friend, Perry White, Jimmy searches frantically in his mind for some means of escape. Is there no possible way to warn the editor or Clark Kent? There seems to be none. In tomorrow's exciting episode, Jimmy finds a way, but almost at the cost of his own life. Don't miss it. Listen tomorrow, same time, same station, to the episode entitled The Last Chance.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. You know, it wouldn't surprise me, fellers, if your dog sometimes wishes he were you. Then he could tell Mother what he likes to eat. And it wouldn't surprise me if he'd ask for Kellogg's Grow Pup dog food quick. It beats all how many dogs beg for it. Grow Pup has such a swell, meaty flavor. And there are 3 different kinds. There's Grow Pup Ribbon, Grow Pup Meal, and Grow Pup Pellets. They're all mighty tasty and mighty good for your dog. Help give him lots of muscle, strong bones, and teeth. Remind Mother, next time she's marketing, to ask for Kellogg's Grow Pup. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
And now it's time for a Condensed Bat-Supe Extra Helping, because not all villains wear zoot suits. This time, we'll journey deep into the underworld as a host of dearly departed devilish desperados hatch a heinous holiday scheme to stop Santa from fulfilling his friendly— Wait, what? Less alliteration and more rhyming? Well, we'll leave that to radio writing legend Norman Corwin and his delightful tale of merriment, mayhem, and madness. This is The Plot to Overthrow Christmas, as presented on Christmas Day, 1945.
Seven years ago this Christmas, a young radio writer-director named Norman Corwin produced his first half-hour broadcast for CBS, a fantasy entitled The Plot to Overthrow Christmas. In the years since then, Columbia has brought you many other varied works of Corwin, works which have elevated their creator to the unique position he enjoys in American radio. This holiday season, Norman Corwin comes back to the same studio to direct substantially the same cast with which he first presented his now traditional fantasy, The Plot to Overthrow Christmas. As in the original production, House Jameson plays Santa, Eric Burroughs is Nero, and Will Geer performs the role of Mephisto. Henry Morgan, better known as Here's Morgan, is a newcomer to the plot, playing a number of roles, including that of your narrator.
Did you hear about the plot to overthrow Christmas? Well, gather ye now from Maine to the Isthmus of Panama, and listen to the story of the utter inglory of some gory goings-on in hell. Now, it happened in Hades, ladies and gentlemen. It happened down there that the fiends held a meeting. The fiends held a meeting for the purpose of defeating Christmas. With the aid of a fade on the radio, we'll take you there with a hi and a hey-ho to hear firsthand the brewing of the plot down in the deepest Stygian grot.
Grot is a poetical term for grotto. Whenever you hear my voce sotto, or sotto voce, whichever you prefer, it's just I, taking pains to make quite sure that nobody makes a poetical allusion which might in any way create confusion. I return you now to the voice you were hearing before I had to do this interfering.
As I was saying, in this Stygian grot, the notables of Limbo hatched a plot, and what went on in the sulphurous hole we'll soon pick up by remote control. Of course, such a pickup's not made quickly. As a matter of fact, it's done rather trickily. You mustn't mind if it sounds erratic. That's merely intraterrestrial static. And don't be surprised if you're deafened by thunder just as we start on our journey under. You'll hear earthquakes and all of the commoner varieties of natural phenomena. And so, below, via radio, to the regions where legions of the damned.
Interrupt me in the middle of a movement of my favorite concerto. You should look to the improvement of your manners.
Sir, if you please, my apologies. I would not have intruded upon your recital if the matter were not so terribly vital.
The most important matter in the world is piddling when it comes to be compared with Nero's fiddling.
Now, what you say may be very true, but I've been sent here to summon you to a great mass meeting of the tortured souls down in the grot of the flaming coal.
A meeting? What for? What's the big idea? Why can't a fellow have some peace down here?
Peace, poor soul, can't be found on the premises. This is a region abounding in nemesis.
Now you're talking like a travel folder. Tell me, varlet, before I smolder, why are we meeting? Who's on the spot?
We're meeting in order to fabricate a plot. A plot against a festival that mortal men comfort in and gladden in again and again. You see, every year...
Never mind the facts. I don't want to hear how mortal man acts. The only information about which I care concerns the mass meeting and who'll be there.
His wickedness, Mephisto, will preside.
Naturally.
And several of the Borgias will be sitting at his side. And down in front, by the sizzling sodium, will be many personalities noted for their odium. Haman, Caligula, Medusa, and Legree.
That's all very nice, but what about me?
Oh, you will be sitting in row A, center, between Ivan the Terrible, the Tormentor, and Circe.
Mercy! Why, they're both deranged.
Do you wish me to see if your seat can be changed?
Yes, if you will, please. Taste comes first, even though a soul may be eternally cursed.
Right-o. See you at the meeting, then?
Yes. And now, back to my fiddling again.
This is I, the sotto voce person. It should have been explained that Nero is rehearsing for nothing in particular. He's just that way. While hell's fires burn, he likes to play. It makes him feel a little more at home. It's just an avocation he picked up in Rome.
Come to order, please. I've called you here from over 60 seas of boiling pitch and blazing phosphorus to stop what constitutes a loss for us. We've lost prestige, and I greatly deplore that we stand in danger of losing more in the way of confidence and spirit. We're far from our goal. We're nowhere near it. And this is the reason. Though we've done well in carrying forward the work of hell, we've left a very big job unfinished. After all these years, there is undiminished goodwill on Earth every late December because of Christmas. Now, please remember that as long as this continues to be, the race of man will not belong to me. I will listen now to any questions you may want to ask, and then suggestions.
Mr. Chairman.
Brother Haman has the floor.
You say we've done well in our efforts to sell evil. I say we've done better. We've carried out the letter of your law. And I say, as a veteran daemon...
Sit down there, Haman. Enough of this folly.
Sit down yourself. You're off your trolley.
Sit down. I'm Ivan the Terrible.
You're telling us? Why, you're unbearable.
I want more decorum in this forum. These personal remarks must cease. Now, Brother Ivan, will you speak your piece?
I merely want to say, in a casual way, that Haman's a radical. Always gets fanatical. Why, you'd think to hear this pup that the devil should just give up.
Mr. Chairman, Brother Ivan is a demagogue with a brain like a fly and the manners of a hog.
Oh.
He shall...
Come to this. Are we going to let a little holiday like Christmas get the better of us all down here below?
No.
Very well, then, sirs. Very well. Let's go. Let's lay down our plans now to overthrow this Christmas business and all that guff of holly and mistletoe and stuff. Brother Caligula may take the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I abhor, as a former emperor, anything which curbs our rule. Let us give some presents, too. Candy sticks and things to chew. Fruits and nuts and little cakes. Poisonous as rattlesnakes.
Bravo!
Let our subtlest worker be bichloride of mercury.
Brilliant.
Let us wrap in tinsel bright little gifts of dynamite.
Very good.
Work things so that men will fear when 12:25 draws near. Good. Soon, at this rate, if you please, men will hang from Christmas trees.
My dear Caligula, permit the chair to say that we think you got something there. And now, with this fine start, let's hear some more. Yes, Brother Nero, do you want the floor?
With all due respect to Caligula's views, I think there's a better method we can use. I've heard just lately men are giving the razz to classical music by making it jazz. They're swinging Bach. And what is keener, they're doing the shag to Palestrina. As a connoisseur of music, of course, I love the works of Rimsky-Korsakov. But today I note with a bitter shrug, they've made Scheherazade El Jitterbug.
Much as we admire your clever rhyme, will you get to the point? We're wasting time.
I was just about to say, when interrupted, that Christmas can easily be corrupted if you take and swing all the Christmas carols. Why, think of the evil. Just barrels and barrels of sacrilege every time you play a pious song in a profane way. Why, once you entice them to swing Noel, then victory belongs to us. Well?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Legree.
I'd like to say that it seems to me that y'all are barking up a coonless tree. I think Mr. Nero's made a wrong guess. Now, the way to go about it is to get in Congress. Bribe a bunch of senators that know their oaths and just make a purchase of a block of votes. And then they can legislate a situation where there rules old Christmas right out of the nation. They can all get together and pass a law where there ain't gonna be no Christmas no more.
I think Legree's suggestion is a beaut.
It's very cute.
And quite astute.
Mr. Chairman! Mr. Chairman!
Yes, Miss Borgia.
I say that we should all give pause to think about this Santa Claus. He's the man behind the scenes, the symbol of what Christmas means. If we could rub him out, my friend, our troubles would be at an end. Just think how it would tickle us to liquidate St. Nicholas. A girl like me could fascinate the guy and then assassinate.
Do you think that you could do it, pretty one? Are you sure you wouldn't be by pity one?
Sometimes you are an awful tease, my master Mephistopheles. Ain't I murdered several dozen? Poisoned uncles, aunts, and cousins? Don't my work right here in Hades make me first among the ladies? Men of virtue all have cussed me. I'm sure that you can trust me.
I'll bet we haven't a particle of doubt, Miss Borgia. I'm sure we all have nothing but kind feelings toward you. But many times a woman's spy, alas, adores her victims. Dames make poor ambassadors.
Do you imply that such defects are found inherent in my sex?
I do.
Well, listen here, old Ironsides. You're heading for some cyanides. You've crossed a Borgia, and you know the consequences that follow.
Come, disciples. This is very bad. There's nothing to be gained by getting mad. Suppose we put the matter to a vote. All those in favor of the motion made by Fiend Caligula will signify by rising to their feet and saying, aye.
Aye.
One vote in favor. Caligula's. And those opposed?
Opposed!
The motion is defeated. Up we bring the plan of Brother Nero's, viz., to swing the hymns and pious music. All those for will please respond by raising up a paw.
For!
And those against?
Against!
Very well. Now, the project of Legree's. Who is there here who totally agrees?
I do!
Legree votes for himself. And those opposed?
Opposed!
And now all those who favor Borgia's cause, it being to eliminate Santa Claus.
Aye!
And those opposed? It seems the women have a way with them. At least they have carried the day with them.
You flatterer.
The motion's carried. And now we'll decide which one of us will take Nick for a ride. We'll all draw lots, and thus settle the moot point of who'll be sent to execute.
This is your old friend Sotto Voce, visiting down where it's eternal noche. Noche is Spanish for night, you know. Merely a reference just to show that English isn't all I have to go by. Oh, well, I guess I've missed my calling. I should have been a lobbyist. You see, I'm stalling to give them time to finish the voting. Let's see. The weather. Now I'm quoting the Daily Hellion. Continued heat both overhead and under feet. Free and moderate gases blowing up to gale force, and then going north by westerly. Light showers of brimstone toward the evening hours. That's what it says here. I'm not fibbing. How am I doing with my ad-libbing? This is a thing Bob Trout would have fun with. Say, the drawing should soon be done with. We expect the results any moment now, as soon as...
The lots have been drawn, and I'm glad to say the honor has fallen Nero's way. Now, Nero, you are charged with a great task. It's the evilest deed that we could ask a fiend to do. We'll be proud of you.
Now, just a moment. How do I get there? What do I wear? Is it dry or wet there? Is it fact or fancy or just word of mouth that he lives at the pole? Is it north or south? What shall I use when it comes to the showdown? A gun or a dagger? Now, give me the lowdown.
Now, Nero, you needn't sound so tragic. You'll get to Earth by the blackest magic. To create an express elevator is simple for an expert spell creator. With a lot of pyrotechnic dazzle, we'll let you off on a hill in Basel, Switzerland. From there you'll make your way to the Arctic Circle, then break your way through ice with a blowtorch. After a while, you're bound to reach Santa's domicile. And once you get there, my dear Nero, all of our work will have gone for zero if you don't succeed in your assignment.
I know. If at first we don't succeed, we can try and try again. But there is no need, because nothing will come of it. Meaning no offense. Do you mind if I take my departure hence?
That, my friends, was a big brass gong. It is used in this story right along to indicate that we're about to travel to points where the plot will further unravel. And now, if Ambassador Nero elects, we'll have another spot of sound effects.
Tell me, stranger, is this Basel, Switzerland? Or is it already Donner und Blitzland?
Donner and Blitzenlands, 5,000 miles away.
Thank you, mister, and good day. Tell me, stranger, I've been walking inland for weeks. Where am I now?
In Finland?
Tell me, stranger, because I've lost stock. Where am I now?
In Vladivostok.
Listen, stranger. After all these centuries of blistering heat, now I have to suffer from freezing feet. I'm wincing with pain from this pesky toe.
No speak English. Eskimo.
I declare, by my frenetic soul, I must be over the magnetic pole. My watch has stopped. Can that be right? I wonder. A light, a light! In a moment now you'll hear me knock on Santa's door, and he'll unlock it nevermore to lock again. So is doom.
How do you do, sir?
Very well indeed, and you, sir?
Splendidly. Won't you come right in? Take your coat off. I see your chin is frozen. Also your hands and knees. Sit down while I get you some antifreeze.
Don't bother, sir. I will not be long. I'm about to perpetrate a fearful wrong. In short, I am going to do away with...
Take it easy. Do not play with that gun. I know all about you.
Really?
Haven't I had my agents scout you for weeks? You've come all this way to abolish Christmas. Now let me say...
Listen, Santa. I'm no callow stripling. I've read Ernest Hemingway and Kipling and also The Shooting of Dan McGrew. And plenty of detective stories, too. And just to show you what a broad guy I am, I've also read the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Do you think that a fellow with his reading so graded could have learned so little as to be dissuaded from a main objective? Why, don't make me giggle.
I'd feel a lot better if you wouldn't wiggle that gun so. Much as I'm impressed with your education, I honestly believe that a figure of your station should have given more thought to the ways of man and less devotion to the cult of Pan.
By others, no doubt, your wisdom may be prized. But I didn't come here to be criticized. In fact, I came to dispatch a duty. So don't hand me any of this tutti-frutti. If you've any last words you want to say, then spill them. I haven't got all day.
No, what's the rush? Unless I've counted wrong, the polar day is always 6 months long.
Well, after I've disposed of you, I've got to hurry right back to hell, or they'll begin to worry.
Not about you, but about your career in homicide. Do you think that the mere loss of you would make them hysterical? Their only interest is numerical.
Think so?
Mephisto wants to rule just as much of humanity as possible for reasons of personal vanity.
By the sticks! You're right. To think that he'd dare. Are there any ladies here? Will you permit me to swear?
My answer to that is an emphatic no. There are several lady dolls in the toy room below.
Oh, Claudius! Oh, Cassius! Oh, Naphtali! What a fool I've been! What a fool I've been! But wait. I think I see what you're after. You're as clever as a big-time Roman grafter. You remind me now of my royalty just to get me in a mood for disloyalty. Do you think I could be that meanly deceptive to Satan? Why, Santa, I'm keenly perceptive. I can see right through all your clever ruses. Nero can be plenty foxy when he chooses. I'll have you know that I'm partly a dreamer, partly a wit, and partly a schemer. I'm part philosophical and also part mystic.
I suppose you fancy that you're highly artistic.
Fancy? Why, I have such a sense of beauty.
Don't hand me a helping of tutti frutti. Any creature who really had beauty in his soul would appreciate Christmas. He would know that the whole idea of the holiday is one of such power that all the fiends below might gnash their fangs and glower, yet never in a million years could do it harm. Because it has a glory, a greatness, a charm you would know nothing about.
Is that so?
The spirit that it venerates, the good cheer that it generates are things far, far beyond you. For all your wealth, no man on earth could sell ye these.
Am I so cursed as that? Will you tell me, please, what beauties there may be that I have never seen?
Have you ever seen a Christmas tree, tall and green, smelling of woodlands, covered with a sheen of silveriness, its branches bending low with the fruits of human kindness instead of snow?
No!
Have you ever closely witnessed what takes place any Christmas morning on a young child's face? Or perceived any beauties purer than the joys distilled in the hearts of little girls and boys? Have you ever watched a fire in a fireplace on a Christmas Eve? Or listened to grace at a table heavy with fruits and cakes and all the wonders that a kitchen makes, fowls and pastries, wines and meats and nuts and raisins and candied sweets? Have you ever seen mistletoe hanging from a ceiling, in frosty air heard a far bell pealing? Have you ever come back from a sleigh ride tingling, and your feet keeping time with the sleigh bells jingling? Have you ever seen the beauty of a sprig of holly, or felt for a moment how it feels to be jolly?
Golly.
Have you ever known how exceedingly pleasant it is to unwrap a Christmas present? Did you ever know how much cheer it lends to be wished a Merry Christmas by all your friends? Did you ever experience the fun of giving? Do you know at all the joys of living?
I guess I don't. For all of me, I never knew such things could be. Just think how long in ignorance I've slept.
It must have been the company you kept.
I was a wicked tyrant once, you know.
Ah, yes, but that was centuries ago. You really had no way of knowing.
Perhaps. I guess that I'll be going. I really should be getting on my way.
But do you have to? Don't you want to stay?
You see, I'm just a bit...
Embarrassed?
Why, yes, sir.
Now, don't look so harassed. I know just why you came and who it was that sent you. But that's all done with. I take it you repent you of all your past mistakes.
With many pains and aches of conscience.
Then are you welcome here? Please take your hat off, your coat, your muffler also. Take your spat off. What happened to the other one? No matter. You're pretty thin.
You'll presently be fatter. I serve good food here. I'll get you a platter of steak and mushrooms. A medium or rare. I'll bet that you're as hungry as a bear. Now, just sit down. That's it, right over here. And tell me, will you have some wine or beer? I never touched the stuff myself, but I managed to keep on hand a little rye for purposes medicinal. I mean, your chin should be unfrozen. What a state it's in.
A while ago, you asked me if I understood good cheer. I do so now, St. Nicholas. I see it standing here. I want to ask you something, sir. Now, please don't give a yelp. Is there any sort of work to do where I can be of help?
Indeed there is. Indeed there is, and I am glad you asked me. I have so many toys to make this year, the job's got past me. But first, you sit and eat this bowl. I've got a little trifle I'd like for you to see. So will you sit right here and stifle your curiosity? I'll get it for you right away. It's down the hall a piece.
Well, well. Who'd ever think it? Will wonders never cease? At last, after all these centuries, I'm so happy I could buzz. It shows you what a lot a little Christmas spirit does. As emperor, I envied off the cheerfulness of peasants, and now...
Well, here it is, Nero, my boy. By way of Christmas presents, I offer you this little gift.
But Santa, for what reason?
A very good one, sir. To wit, compliments of the season. Well, go ahead and open it. Why stand there so reflecting?
I'm just collecting thoughts, St. Nick. My thoughts I'm just collecting. Just think how far a tiny bit of fellowship will carry us. Oh, well. I say, what's this? What's this? It is a Stradivarius. Why, thank you. Thanks a million times. I don't know what to say to you. I'll tell you what I'll do, St. Nick. I'll start right in and play for you. I'll play all night and day for you.
Fine. Here's some music. I'm sure you'll play it well. It's a little piece entitled Noel, Noel.
This is I. Remember me, your sotto voce friend? I've just come back to tell you that the story is at an end.
You have been listening to The Plot to Overthrow Christmas, written, directed, and produced by Norman Corwin. House Jameson appeared as Santa Claus, Eric Burroughs as Nero, and Henry Morgan as the narrator, Legree, and Ivan the Terrible. Others in the cast were Ann Shepard, Kermit Murdoch, Will Gear, Robert Dryden, Norman Ober, and Edward Cullen. Paul Winters was Nero's playing arm. The script of The Plot to Overthrow Christmas is found in the book 13 by Corwin. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Well, that'll wrap up another episode of Condensed Bat-Supe, featuring 2 more parts of the Hate Mongers organization from the adventures of Superman. Thank you for listening. Be sure to tell your friends to subscribe to Bat-Supe on their favorite podcatcher. We can also be found on YouTube and Facebook. We'll see you next time for another exciting edition of Condensed Bat-Supe as we bring you more of our current storyline and another fine Bat-Supe extra helping. Until then, up, and away!
Daddy, when is the real Santa coming?
Well, well, you see, honey,
He'll be here soon, kids.
Oh, Frankie. Look, kids, he may be here too late. Look, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a Christmas story, and then will you run off to bed?
Well, all right, Daddy. But we wanted so much to see him.
I know. Well, maybe next year. Now, look, sit on my lap, and I'll tell you a beautiful Christmas story. You ready? 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas, soon would be there. I thought I heard sleigh bells. No. The children were nestled, all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced through their heads. Alice, what are those bells? What's the...
Shh, quiet, Curly.
Phyllis, look in the fireplace. It's Santa Claus, the real one.
But Merry Christmas, Santa.
Frankie, who are you talking to? I don't see anybody.
The kids do. Look at them.
Gee, Santa, we knew you'd come.
They couldn't fool us with any make-believe Santa Claus. We were waiting just for you.
Oh, sure, we've been very good girls. Oh, what a lovely dollhouse. Thank you.
And all these things are for me? Can I open them now? All right, Santa, we'll wait till morning. Thank you very much.
And a Merry Christmas to you too, Santa.
Of course we'll tell them. Merry Christmas, and goodbye, Santa Claus.
Bye.
I told you he'd show up, Curly.
But Frankie, I don't get it. I heard it, but I didn't see him.
Of course you didn't. He sure is a nice-looking old gent.
Alice, did you see him?
I'm not sure, Phil. I almost thought I saw him standing by the fireplace.
But Alice, how could it be? If he was standing...
Phil, what are you staring at?
The mantel. Alice, the milk and cookies. They're gone.